Hello and welcome to What's New in NX9. I'm going to be covering the new ribbon bar interface, some new features, and enhancements at the end. So the biggest thing you're going to notice is the ribbon. Much like Microsoft products, you're going to see the ribbon across the top. You just jump right in there and you'll see that you've got the quick access toolbar across the top, the ribbon, your selection toolbar, and your border bars. And I'll show them all. So here's your quick access toolbar on the top, and you got your ribbon that you can cycle through. I'm just using my mouse to scroll through this. Command finder's in a new and convenient location. It's always got a window open. Just type what you want in there. And without going into customization, I can add to my border bars. So I've got a right, left, and bottom border bar that are showing up here as I place the same thing on each of these, just to show this off. And your bottom border bar. Minimize this so you can see everything. Highlight that in yellow. Bottom border bar and the right border bar. You still have the menu. That's a nice easy drop down. And this is formerly known as your selection toolbar, but now it's got your selection, utility toolbar, and some of the view toolbar commands that are on here. There is a new feature for you CAD admins out there, generate support for IR/PR. This is pretty handy. When you run this from help, generate support for IR/PR, and you can collect the logs, and it will tell you where to put them, or tell you where it sent them rather. It'd be nice if you could either copy this or just open up the file folder, but this is the file folder itself, and these are the files it grabs. So help somebody troubleshoot out a problem. So rapid dimensions. Dimensions are I don't know, normalized again across the entire product now, so they all have the same look and feel. You can enable dimension scene dialogues in Sketcher, and you can help convey your design intent here. So now I can put in the length plus or minus, put in notes, in front and behind your dimension, and then this dimension could be exposed as PMI if you're doing PMI. Go ahead and place a rapid dimension. This is kind of a replacement for the inferred dimension. It will do its best to infer what you're trying to do. And I can go ahead and explicitly pick a diametral dimension. And here I'll pick a radial dimension and have it place automatically. (2D) Synchronous Technology. If you have a library of DXF, CGM, part files, you can bring them in, add them to a sketch. Of course, the caveat to that is to make sure that you have auto dimensioning and auto constraining turned off. This one needs 135 constraints, so it would take a while to set this up. Here are your synchronous commands. And first thing I want to do is select the curves. and my curve finder is turned on, so it's automatically selecting collinear, concentric, symmetric. And move curve again. It's automatically selected symmetric. Now this, the only, or rather, there are no constraints on this. Well, there are a couple constraints on here, but I want to move handles on this one. The balls that you see on the ends of the line segments there are just denoting the line segment ends and the center points of the circles and arcs. Do an offset move curve. Set the connected curves, give it a value, and it'll just offset the entire curve set. You can delete a curve. Of course, you can just delete the curve and reconstrain it as you like, but what this does is it'll extend the geometry and keep a closed profile. So if this is used in an extrude, then you don't have to worry about rebuilding. You got resize curve. This is pretty interesting. You can resize curve as a fillet or from the center. If I pick that circle, it's grabbing symmetry. For some reason, it's not grabbing that lower right hand circle down there. I guess I could have picked equal radius on that also, and it would grab that. And this one, if I picked concentric, it's going to grab the outside one too and make it the same size as the circle. Don't want to do that. And if I change it to as a fillet, and I pick symmetry near and symmetry far, it's grabbing all of them. You see how it changes as a fillet, and do it from center. And it will adjust the geometry as needed. Wait for it to update here. I think this runs a little bit faster when I'm not actually recording the screen. And move curve, offset move curve, resize curve, and delete curve. The ones with a little S slash through them are your 2D synchronous tools. So I have a fully constrained sketch here. So what's it going to do if I have a fully constrained sketch? I want to rotate that center set of curves and find out. Move my handles to the center. And rotate that 90 degrees. The constraints that are no longer solved properly will be dropped off, and now it needs 9 constraints. So it didn't blow my sketch up, it just removed the ones that are no longer needed. Rigid sketch groups are great. You can actually have essentially a solved sketch within a sketch and have a grouping within a sketch. So you have a new constraint type called rigid sketch or rigid constraint, which will actually create groups in your part navigator. If you right click on one of the groups, you can activate it, and what that'll do is expose anything that's constrained within it. So I've got my length. On this one, it requires I now require 2 constraints to finish it, and one of them is the width of this bar here. So I can pull that out. Set that to 35, and I'll right click and deactivate that, and now it's rigid constraint again. And I can rotate that around. The graphics on this probably isn't coming through as well as I'd like it to. Also, with the fact that you've created these sketch groups, you can extrude them as discrete groups. So if I just have feature curve selected, obviously it's going to grab everything in the sketch and extrude it. And I can switch this to group. And extrude these two little linkages in different directions and make this, start building this as a, well, more realistically looking linkage. The rib command, this is going to be very similar to the open profile that showed up in NX9, but it's just for ribs, and there are some limitations on it. You have to think about what a rib really is. I'm going to pick the rib command here, grab my curves, and I'll automatically extend either perpendicular to the section plane or parallel to the section plane. You can give it draft. The draft is going to be from the cap face because this is a rib. It has a specific function. It's a specific type. I can drag the arrowhead up and down off of the inferred sketch plane, and it will automatically fill in the geometry. Turn on another one here. It's a little bit more complex. Go to rib, select my sketch curves, make it a little bit taller, excuse me, and apply draft from the cap. And I'm going to throw an edge blend across the top of this, and NX9 blend top faces arrived, and you can blend in a single pick. I can grab all of the rib top faces and blend them all at the same time. This reduces the amount of picking you have to do on the screen to make things work. Analyze pocket, blend pocket. This is getting you to think like a machinist. So you have a checkmate. If you have a checkmate license, this will work. But you can right click, activate your checkmate tool. I'm going to go down and set up the test. And go to features, drill down to analyze pocket, put that into my chosen tests, and oops, I got two of them down there. I can edit this on the fly and change how this tool is going to work, what kind of tool it is, the diameter of the tool, or the radius of the tool edges. So this is more along the lines of like a cam tool, but you could definitely use this in production design, and it'll analyze my part. It tells me that I have acutely inclined walls and tool inaccessible areas. So look at these acutely inclined walls. Do a section here. Got perspective turned down here. Let's turn perspective off for a second. And there's my acutely angled wall. And I have tool inaccessible areas, and it'll show me that the tool diameter that I picked can't go around these features without something else happening. So that's the information. It can be useful. I'm going to pick the blend pocket tool and put in the same parameters here. So 12.7 and 3.2 lower radius. I want it to cut the floor. This is what it will do. You can either swerf cut the wall, cut the floor and wall, and the pop-ups here do show exactly what it's going to try and do. And blend pocket, without those parameters, you can see where the tool inaccessible areas worked. It actually changed the geometry of my wall, and it may not be what you want. So use this tool with caution and know what it's going to do. I'm going to go in here and edit this and actually swerf cut the wall, and you'll see how the wall thickness hasn't changed, but the corner pocket area has got different thicknesses there. So in order for me to do this part, I need to change the tool or adjust how I approach this to create my part file here. And the tool inaccessible areas are highlighted here. So if I use that tool, this is what it's going to do. Convert, unite, subtract. For those that don't want to have the Boolean within the feature, like this feature here has the Boolean within the feature. This has been around for a while now. I can convert that to a subtract, and it will go from a unite to a subtract. My next one, essentially the same kind of feature, I can't change a unite to a subtract. I can't go into the extrude. I can go into the extrude and change it to a subtract, but then anything that's dependent on it will then fail. Well, the Boolean will fail, but I didn't want that one anyway. Let's go back. But now you can right click and convert to subtract. And now it's subtracted. Interrupt feature updates. Everybody has probably picked something and went, oh, that's going to fail. This one will allow you to interrupt this feature update, and the stop button actually works. It kind of worked before, but it was a little bit clunky, and sometimes it took as long to stop working as it did to start working. So click interrupt, click stop the feature, and then the preview was interrupted. It'll collect everything and just dump it. Everything that it was doing as it was collecting that geometry. So you can sort model views. Now, model views just out of the box, you've got your standard out of the box ones, but now you can set explicit sort order. So I created a few ISOs that I wanted to put together. So I've got my ISO plus 90, plus 180, and plus 270. And I can set them up in an order. And I forgot to hit the little yellow checkbox there. Oh, there it is. And model views are sorted in the name I gave it. Explicit sort order again. I can have multiple different sort orders in here. You can delete them, edit them, modify them, drag them around, do what you want to with them. There's a new selection intent for edge blend and draft. It'll basically pick up any intersecting feature. So if I have this feature here, and I want to feature intersect blends or feature intersect edges, it'll grab all of those edges from the feature that I created and stuck through this V block here. It also works on draft. I haven't done a whole lot with this tool yet, but feature intersection edges, give it a draft angle nice and extreme so we can see it, and give it a pull vector. See what it does there. I need to play with that tool a little bit more. Synchronous modeling, move edge, offset edge. These are new. You can actually do commands on edges instead of just on faces. So it's in the synchronous modeling. Down at the bottom, you've got move edge. So I can use this tool to do things that I could probably use other tools for. I could throw a chamfer. I could make a sketch in here if I needed to move this edge in a specific amount or create it to a specific angle. I could do the trig, I could do a sketch, I could do multiple things here and create it. This is just another tool to allow you to move edges around. So I'll pick this inside edge and drag this one around. And move edge again. I want that edge. Give it a different vector. Oops, that vector. And pull this edge back. I can also just right click on the arrowhead and snap to object, and it'll snap to where I want it. It's not associative, won't stay that way. Here's where it gets really interesting. I'm going to pull this edge down and it will radically change that top face. Kind of show that off a little bit. That's impressive, the way it can adjust that topology. So I have offset edge also. Offset edge is you can go along a plane or an edge or along the face. So it kind of depends on the topology that you're trying to drag around. Here I'm going to show the morph or extend. So you've got some different ways of calculating how it's going to take care of the offset. I'm going to offset this top edge 3 millimeters and do the same to the bottom edge. And I'm going to do an offset of the that center edge. And pretty cool tool, pretty useful. So in synchronous modeling, you also have delete blend faces. It's much like delete the whole size, where you can pick the size of blend that you want to delete. So I just go to delete face and pick blend size. Set to 5. I don't have any blends that are at 5, so I'll set this to 10. And I can select that blend there, and it picked up 3 different blends, 4 maybe. Bump this up to 20, it picks up a few more, and to 25, and I pretty much have gotten all the blends on my part file. Blend corner. This is not a synchronous modeling tool. This is just a new feature that showed up in 9.0.1. Shows up in my feature set under more. The picking on this is a little bit interesting. You have to be careful how you pick. This one actually took a little bit of practice to make sure I got it just right. But these blue and red lines that you see showing up on the screen are the hold lines for the feature that is being created. So I can drag my control lines out. You'll see how they adjust. And since I want to clean this corner up, I can adjust tangent magnitude on the hold lines, tangency lines. I can control them all individually. This one failed, so I'll put that one back. And if I say OK, it cleaned up that corner. But I noticed that I've got that little spot right there. Let's go back and edit this. Change my tangent magnitude back to 1. That pulls that line back down. And 1 on that one also. And clean that blend up. Let's do this lower blend down here. And I'm picking blend faces so that I have the ability to drag my hold lines further out on those faces. If you pick these blends and you see the red and blue lines crossing over each other, you'll see what happens. It'll give you a failure window. But it depends on where you're picking on the faces and how the arrows are aligning themselves. This one takes a little bit of practice to get used to, but it's a pretty handy tool. This is on a fully parameterized part, and I'm cleaning up the edge blends on it. So it's the blend with off and the blend on. So this is an unparameterized body. It's just a body in this part file. And I start picking the edges again, or picking the blend faces again. And it works just fine on a non-parameterized part. Fill surface. This is another new tool in NX9. Got a sheet body with a hole in it. There's other ways you could do this also. So this is just another tool that's in your surfacing quiver. And I could use insided surface. I could use patch, a few other things to recreate this. But this is fill surface. Okay, some enhancements. We have view section, where you can now specify the layer that you want to put your section curves on, and raster image. So first off, view section. And I can section my part, have my section curve shown. I'll close up some of these dialogues here. And you now have a layer option where you can key in the layer that you want to put these section curves on. Save a copy of the section curves, and they'll go to that layer. If you didn't do this, you can always go to your section curves, pick those, and move to default layer. The default layer will be set in your customer defaults. Here's raster image. It's on my datum plane drop down. I'm going to pick the plane I want to put this on, grab the image that I want to stick on here. So I have ID from that comes in the form of just a JPEG here. I pick the how I want to control this image. Just grab a point on the image there, and now it's where I'm going to control it from. I want to scale this. I've got a sketch shown about the size of the bottle that I want. I'm going to grab that corner there and bring it out to my sketch edge, make sure it's about the same as what I wanted, and now I can start building geometry on top of this to fulfill the requirements of industrial design. You got a CSYS tool. Anytime you have a tool that requires you to put a CSYS, it's now dynamic. So the helix is a perfect example of this. Before you had to specify the CSYS ahead of time, but now you can just have a dynamic CSYS and move it around to what you want. Here is thicken. This is another enhancement. This allows you to do multiple different thicknesses in the same part file. I'm going to reverse that. So I want to thicken this to the inside. What you see here is a sketch that I've wrapped onto the surface of this sheet body. This is 4 millimeters, and it uses region boundary as the selection intent to allow me to pick just contiguous geometry. And let's do another section here that's 2 millimeters thick, And wait for it to catch up here. I gotta flip that over too. Make sure all my arrows are pointing in the right direction. And grab all of these bodies, or all these sections, all these regions. And I'm gonna do one more thing in here, and there's regions to pierce. I'm just going to pierce this one spot right here just to show off that I'm going to have that section pierced. And say OK. This will thicken up. As you can see there, one operation. This would take multiple operations. I'm going to hide this sheet body here and show you that that really is a hole. Very cool. Some of the other enhancements, the Assembly Navigator, this is John Baker's valve body. You can actually change the order of the Assembly Navigator from chronological to alphanumeric to alphabetical. You can also have an explicit order. If I want to organize things differently, I can just drag and drop, and when I do so, it's going to tell me that it's no longer a system order, and it's going to automatically create a new order and give it a new order number 1 on this particular example. Edit orders and parts. You can come over here and explicitly control it, delete it, rename it, copy it, and create another order. So I just call this updated order. And right click on your part file. I'm going to get rid of this component pattern. So component arrays are no longer there. Well, they're there, but they've been updated to component pattern. So I'm going to use the component pattern tool here, show that it looks a lot similar to the pattern that you see in NX9, but now it picks up the pattern automatically. The pattern tool is more aligned with what the other pattern tools are. In the last few releases, Draft has undergone a pretty significant change, and here are some examples. I don't have a live view of this one. We also have untrimmed divide face, part family, and notch blend. This is a divide face. I'm going to show this one live. Let's pick divide face here. Before you had to have geometry on the part before you wanted to divide that face, a sketch or a line or something. Now you can just pick. You can pick 2 points. Divide the face that way. I can offset a curve and a face. Oops, I don't want to do it that way. I guess I could do it that way, but pick the faces, grab the curve that I want to offset. It's not normal to the face. 20 millimeters will work there. And now the face is divided out, just to show that I've actually divided that face out. And you can use isoparametric curves. And when you flip that, it switches from U to V. And there's divide face. Back to assemblies real quick. Cover the assembly navigator and component pattern, or pattern component. I'm going to show the align lock constraint and direction to fixed in the constraint navigator, as well as pack all components as default. I'm going to open up this part file from scratch. It's already in the order that I requested last time when I saved it, and everything is already packed. You have a new constraint called align lock. I'm going to use it like a concentric constraint. Now that part is Let's find it in the navigator here. That part is fully constrained with one constraint. This one is a concentric constraint, but it's not fully constrained. I'm going to right click on that and convert it to align lock. The align lock, if you have an align constraint, you can change an align, touch align to a align lock, so it will prevent rotation. Basically, that's what this one does, is it prevents rotation. Direction to fixed. This can be handy in trying to unwind the constraints and how they're placed on there. You've got different icons to show to or from the fixed constraint. The green arrow is to the fixed constraint, the white arrow is away from fixed constraint, and of course there's the fixed constraint itself. And that's it. Thank you for attending the webinar for What's New in NX9, and stay tuned for more webinars from Applied CIX. Thank you.